Hey guys, this is MTK and this is going to be the complete CSGO tutorial. So this video will be divided into subparts and timestamps diye dibo for each topic I talk about. And I'll be starting from the very basics of the game to the more advanced stuff. But first, let me introduce myself. I play under the alias MTK and I started CS in the year 2014. Mostly I was a solo player, but I played for a few mixed teams, but I had a very short run in almost all of them. I've won awards here and there until I finally got recognized in 2016, where I started playing for RV. In game I have almost 7,000 hours now. Yes, that's a lot. In no way do I mean to say I'm the best player, but I do have a lot of experience which I can share with you guys to help you improve in the game. The first thing I'd like to talk about is ranks, and এই topic নিয়ে কথা বলার আগে I'd like to mention a few key points. সেটা হইলো যে if you're frustrated অনেকগুলো MM হারলাম, opponent a hacker, smurf, you have to realize যে every legit player, high rank player that you might look up to, they've all faced them and তারা ওদের face করে rank up করছে. So that is not an excuse. You just have to keep winning all the fair games you face. And you have to keep playing for the enjoyment of the game. একটা গেম হারার পর ওই টিলটা নেক্সট গেমে ক্যারি অন করতে করতে it'll just lead to a streak of losses. And you should probably stop playing by then and the very next day with a cool mind then start again. And I believe you deserve a rank up only if you consistently hit 20 to 25 frags per game. And one last point, a mistake আমি করছিলাম when I hit Supreme is I was really scared to derank, so আমি main ID তে খেলতাম না, আমার এক দুইটা smurf account ছিল ওটাতে পুরো দিন খেলতাম. So don't do that, don't be scared to derank. Just keep playing and grinding on your main account even if you're on a very bad losing streak. You'll get there at a point, but you'll get there faster if you keep playing. Playing on your main ID, that is. So there are 18 ranks in total, and I've divided them into 5 groups. The first one being Silver, then comes Gold Nova. After that, I've grouped Master Guardian 1 to Master Guardian Elite. Then we have DMG, LE, and LEM. And at last, we have Global Elite and Supreme Master First Class. So the way we are going to do this is, I'm going to mention a skill group, and then I'm going to list some of the general mistakes they make. And after that, we're going to watch a few demos from that rank group, and then I'm going to list a few things you can do to improve yourself if you fall under that skill level. So first is Silver niye bolbo. Usually jara Silver tara CS khele on the side. Usually they play single player games আর CS তেমন seriously খেলেও না. So if you want to rank up from Silver তাহলে you have to play a lot more. একটু time দিতে হবে so that your muscle memory is built up. আর please every round টাকা হইলে বা না হইলেও you shouldn't always buy an AWP because এই র্যাঙ্কে রাইফেল টাফ হইতেই পারে, বাট প্রত্যেক রাউন্ড AWP কিনলে পরে অনেক ইজি রাউন্ডে বাই করা যায় না, তখন বাই করার টাকা থাকে না. AK বা M4 চালাইতে don't be scared. রাউন্ডের শুরুতে stop pushing your position, stop rushing, because opponentরা শুরুর দিকেই more aware থাকবে. You should learn about timings. So do this. First 30 seconds of a buy round, try to hold patiently. Just see how it works out. এখন থেকে অভ্যাস করা ট্রাই করো. Trust me when I say this. যদি রাউন্ডের শুরুতে পেশেন্টলি হোল্ড করতে পারো এই র্যাঙ্কে অপোনেন্টরা পুশ করবেই and অনেকগুলো ফ্রি রাউন্ড পেয়ে যাবা বাই রাউন্ডগুলোতে. And start giving information to your teammates. টিমমেটদের কভার দিতে কষ্ট হলেও at least give an information যদি কোথাও সাউন্ড পাও. ভুল ইনফরমেশন হলেও try to keep practicing giving information. Moreover, you should expect your teammates to be noob. Like, you cannot expect them to be super pro and carry the whole team unless it's a smart. So নিজের খেলা improve করো and try to carry the team. So with all that being said, এখন আমরা যাব আমাদের first demo reviewতে. And to all those who gave me their demos, thank you all so much. My intention is not to roast you guys, but সবার মিস্টেক একটু একটু দেখে বাকি সবাই যেন শিখতে পারি in the general skill level. So First comes silver. Silver আর কি শুটিং এ প্রবলেম, গেম সেন্সে তো অফকোর্স প্রবলেম থাকবেই। সো মেইনলি শুটিং এর প্রবলেম, যেটা আমি মেনশন করতেছি। অ্যান্ড কিছু করার নেই, এটা আমিও সিলভার থাকতে আমার মাউসে 8200 ডিপিআইতে খেলতাম, খালি অফ চালাইতাম, রাইফেল কিচ্ছু পারতাম না। সো আই ক্যান ব্লেম মাই সেলফ অ্যাজ ওয়েল। সো আমরা শুরু করি আমাদের ফার্স্ট ডেমো। ওকে, সো অলরেডি আমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছি যে আমাদের প্লেয়ারটা ঢোকার পর কোনো অ্যাঙ্গেলই তেমনভাবে চেক করে নাই, ফায়ারবক্স চেক হয় নাই, একজন বসে থাকতে পারতো। তারপর একটা অ্যাঙ্গেল গুলি করার সময় আরো অন্য অনেকগুলো অ্যাঙ্গেল এক্সপোজ, যেমন এখানে সিটি থেকে এক্সপোজ ছিল, জাঙ্গল থেকে এক্সপোজ, স্টেয়ার্স থেকে এক্সপোজ, বাট কোনো ডেফিনিটিভ অ্যাঙ্গেল ক্রসারিতে চেক করা হচ্ছে না। ইটস জাস্ট রান অ্যান্ড গান।
Flashbang.
ইমিডিয়েট নেক্সট রাউন্ডটাও সেম, কোনো অ্যাঙ্গেল ঠিক মতো চেক হচ্ছে না। অ্যান্ড ওভারঅল অনেকগুলো অ্যাঙ্গেল একসাথে দেখতে গিয়ে ঘুরে ফিরে কিছু দেখা হচ্ছে না। ইটস লাইক টিমমেটরা বেঁচে আছে বাট ইউ আর নট টকিং টু দেম। টিমমেটকে ধরতে বলে একটা, নিজে ধরো আরেকটা অ্যাঙ্গেল, সো দ্যাট ভালো করে পজিশন হোল্ড করতে পারো। যে কোনো জায়গাতে এনিমি আসলে ইউ গেট প্রিপেয়ার্ড। সব জায়গায় ধরতে গেলে আলটিমেটলি কিছু ধরা হবে না, ইটস জাস্ট বেসড অন লাক। Now I'm going to show you why I always advise everyone to play at least 5 minutes of deathmatch before joining a competitive game. Please be more patient. Don't always rush. এখন suddenly it's all of the T players against one CT player যে এ দেখতেছে, because B player রোটেট দিতে দিতে অলরেডি এ সাইডটা দখল হয়ে যাবে। সো রিটেক করতে এখন টাফ হবে। টিমমেটের এক পা অলরেডি কভারে, তাও কোনো কভার নাই। ল্যাক অফ টিম ওয়ার্ক ম্যান। ওকে, সো মুভিং ফরওয়ার্ড উই নাও হ্যাভ গোল্ড নোভা। এখন ইউ আর ট্রাইং টু গেট মোর সিরিয়াস ইন দ্য গেম because you finally moved past the silver ranks. Now let's talk about the general mistakes in this rank. আমার মতামতে সবচেয়ে বড় ইস্যু এই র্যাঙ্কে is crosshair placement, no doubt. You don't aim high enough or you don't aim where the opponent will peek first. So প্রথম শটে হেডশট লাগে না usually. You have to spray, নালে burst করতে হয়. So you should know where to properly aim so that enemy আসলেই first শটটায় থাম করে হেডশট লাগে. To me, I think এটা হচ্ছে biggest flaw এই র্যাঙ্কে, which is crosshair placement. As in, peek করার আগে your crosshair is like completely out of the blue. You don't know where to aim. তখন enemy এখানে থাকলেও you have to react. তারপর before you peek, তখনই একটা estimate ধরে নাও যে আমার enemy এখানে থাকতে পারে। I'm aiming here before I'm even peeking. তারপর you can shoot right away. Enemy না থাকলে ঠিক আছে, that's fine. But enemy যদি থাকে, you're always prepared to shoot. So আরেকটা angle দেখাই। এখানে NBK is a pretty tight angle to hold. It's pretty tough to kill if your crosshair placement isn't right. So like usually কি হয়, এরকম উল্টাপাল্টা crosshair নিয়ে পিক করলো, ও এখানে enemy, তারপর এখানে aim করে ততক্ষণ এখানে একটা ভালো অপার বা রাইফেলম্যান থাকলে মেরে দিই। What you can do is, আমি ধরে নিলাম এখানে কোথাও আছে, NBK is somewhere around here, obviously I don't know. পিক করার সময় ঠিক আছে আমার এমটা একটু ডানে বামে হইলো, তাও at least I'm minimizing my effort to aim again, readjust my mouse. You get the point? So it's all about crosshair placement. So I already showed you how to peek angles. So এখন আমি দেখাবো how to hold angles effectively so that প্রথম বুলেটে হেডশট লেগে যায় and your opponents have almost zero time to react. এখন আমি এটা একটা এক্সাম্পল দিই, সেটা হলো ধরে নাও B ধরতেছো and you know that a B push is coming. So crosshairটা এখানে না রেখে try to put it a little on the side, like এরকম. So opponent যদি swing out করে তাহলে you have time to react. কারণ এখানে থাকলে কি হয়, enemy এখানে জলদি চলে আসলে মাউস সামনে নড়াইতে পারে, তখন আর কি প্রিসিশনটা এফেক্ট। সো aim a little on the side. তারপর একটা এক্সাম্পল দিই, checkers already ঢুকে গেছে, so you're hiding from this angle. So একটা angle দেখার সময় don't aim so tightly, এত tight angle না ধরে just aim somewhere around here, so that enemy আসলে you assume enemy এত দূর পর্যন্ত আসবে before he starts shooting you. So এখানে ধরো, so it's more likely যে enemy swing out করবে than peek from a very tight angle here. আর এটা শুধু রাইফেলের ক্ষেত্রে, obviously if you're upping mid or something, তাহলে এখানে এমনি না ধরলেই ভালো, তখন টাইট অ্যাঙ্গেল ধরো, so that এখানে একটা অফার আসলে বা কেউ সাইড পিক নিলে সুইং আউট করে তো easy option to play. You should avoid tapping and get comfortable spraying, because from this point onwards যদি স্প্রেতে করা কনফিডেন্সটা না বাড়ে, তাহলে ফিউচারে you cannot build enough muscle memory and enough confidence to always spray. Always tappingটা কাজ করে না, usually when there are multiple enemies. Use the mic a lot more. Trust me when I say this, A rank A, if you can learn to communicate with your teammates and team হিসাবে খেলো, it's going to give you a huge edge over your opponents. Usually goal novas are exposed to too many angles at once. When you hold an angle, try to avoid being exposed to any other angle. যেকোনো একটা angle ধরে রেখো। আরেকটা এক্সাম্পল দেখাই, when you're watching short on Dust 2 for example, তখন এই short দেখার সময় don't play from here, because like I said, exposed to two angles at once. এখন পিঠ থেকে মারতে পারে, এলং আগালে মারতে পারে, শর্ট আগালেও মারতে পারে। Instead এভাবে ধরো, so that you have this box or something to, you know, hide you from pit or something. তখন enemy আসলে you're fighting one angle, you're focusing on one angle. আর যদি লংটা নিয়েও নেয়, খুব বেশি হলে লাগলে এই বক্সের পিছে লুকাও, so that র্যাম্প পর্যন্ত আসলেও না মারতে পারে। You're still focusing on just one angle. This is very vital. One last point I'd like to mention before I start watching the demo is don't play so off guard. Like নিজেই বলো নিজেকে how many times you had your knife out আর একটা enemy সামনে চলে আসছে and you just died there before you could even react or take your gun out. So stop being so off guard. Okay, so first আমরা ডেমোতে দেখবো কেমনে দুই তিনটা অ্যাঙ্গেল একসাথে দেখতে গিয়ে কোনো অ্যাঙ্গেলই ধরা হয় না ultimately. When you're holding an angle, you should focus only on one angle, not multiple angles together.
Throwing fire! Flashback! Laying down smoke. Throwing the flashback! Throwing smoke! Activating the bomb. Bomb has been planted.
Okay, this is something I really dislike. As you can see, enemy already spot করছে heaven-এ, তবুও একই পজিশনে ধরে পিক নিতে আছে, waiting for the opportunity to pick again. As you keep ranking up in CS, you'll see যে গেমটা diverts more towards information and less about shooting, rather than in lower ranks where it is more about shooting than information.
Flashbang!
Okay, let's talk about Master Guardians up to Master Guardian Elite. So you're starting to feel pro. এখন শুটিং মোটামুটি টু লাইনে আসতেছে, decent spraying but lack of consistency. But A rank A, undoubtedly the worst part is playing predictable and lack of map awareness. এই দুইটা জিনিসে আমি ফোকাস করব when I talk about this rank. So as usual, কিছু key points mention করে নেই. Lack of map awareness. Usually A hit বা B hit হইলে পাঁচজনই সেই সাইডটায় যায় আর কেউ ব্যাকস্টেপ দেখে না ঠিক মতো, বা কেউ ফ্ল্যাঙ্কেও থাকে না। বাট এই লার্কিং রোলটা কিন্তু অনেক ইম্পর্টেন্ট ইন সিএস। মেনি প্লেয়ার্স লাইক গেট রাইট, তাদের রোল কিন্তু ছিল লার্কিং। সো দিস ইজ অ্যাকচুয়ালি আ ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট থিং টু নোট। আমার ডেমোতে এই নিয়ে আরও বেশি ইনডেপথ দেখব। Which brings me to my next point, which is lack of map control. This is a little different এই সেন্সে যে ইউজুয়ালি ধরে নাও ক্যাশ ম্যাপ। সো আমরা যদি বলি এ সেট করতেছি, ইউজুয়ালি কী হয়, দুইজন ব্লু ডোর, তিনজন এ মেইন, তারপর হোল্ড করতে করতে পিছন দিয়ে ব্যাক স্টেপ আসে নাকি না, উই হ্যাভ নো আইডিয়া। অ্যান্ড কন্ট্রোল বলতে আই মিন, ফর এক্সাম্পল in any map, if you have control of mid, তাহলে that round is almost guaranteed because the air player plus air player দুইজনেই একটু worried হবে from getting flanked from mid. So this is something to keep in mind. So আমরা try করব to keep at least one player somewhere else to have that portion of the map controlled. At this stage, you should stop playing predictable. Pistol round mane B rush, first buy round mane A setup. You should play a little versatile. Lagle mid control now, tinjon mid jao. Othoba just when you buy, just rush B, surprise them. You should play unpredictable. Aim jotoi bhalo hok na keno, if you're stuck in a bad angle othoba khub common ekta predictable angle, tahole opponent bhalo pore always mere dibe 10 out of 10 times. So এই 50-50 fight গুলো avoid করে ভালো. So you should try playing off angles or unpredictable angles. YouTube বা workshop maps থেকে এখন থেকে সব ম্যাপের smoke টোক শিখে ফেলা উচিত, smoke flashes, mollies. So আমরা আমাদের ডেমোতে চলে যাই. So first আমরা দেখব কিভাবে একটা B হিটের সময় there is nobody watching A, so যে কোনো সময় backstab আসতে পারতো. And it's not a B rush, it's just a B set অথবা slowly যাচ্ছে normally. B rush হলে বুঝতাম 5 জন থাকলে হইতো.
Throwing a grenade. Laying down smoke.
As you can see, 5 জন player B short and যে কেউ connector দিয়ে flank করলে সব মেরে দিতে পারতো. They just got lucky this round.
Throwing fire. Smoke.
Now you're stuck in a situation যেখানে A যাইতে হলেও you have no information on কোথায় enemy থাকতে পারে. So fall back করে rotate করতে অনেক কষ্ট হবে. Another example of a side hit without any map control of the other side.
I'm throwing a flashback. I'm throwing fire. Guard. Throwing a flashback.
Now I'm about to show you our player holding a common angle for too long. একটা ভালো কোনো অপার এসব ডিফল্ট অ্যাঙ্গেলসে পিক নিলে অথবা ভালো রাইফলেরও প্রিফায়ার করলে ডেড.
Laying down smoke. Throwing fire.
Although এখানে বি সাইডটা ফেক দিচ্ছে, it's still a very risky angle to hold for so long.
Throwing smoke.
আমরা এখন আরেকটা ডেমোতে যাচ্ছি যেখানে আমাদের প্লেয়ারটা বিতে সোলো করবে.
Throwing a flashback. Laying down smoke. Smoke.
One smoke,
Flashback. Throwing
first flash,
Incendiary out. Deploying
second flash,
I'm throwing a grenade.
throwing fire, one molly. Now suddenly you have no utility to delay the T side push so that your teammates can rotate. So utility usage is very important. কখন কোন flash smoke মারতে হয়. The smoke was fine but দুইটা flash waste and একটা molly.
I'm throwing fire. Molotov.
আরেকটা জিনিস আমি খেয়াল করছি যে most players একটা পজিশনে comfortable হইলে ওইটা always খেলে. But you should be more versatile. দুই তিনটা পজিশনে খেললে the opponents can't expect where you play from. Okay, so let's talk about DMG, LE and LEM. Your Steam DP is probably of Goku or some god anime right now. Your shooting is above average, crosshair placement is good, and there should be no lacking in shooting at this point. So without further ado, these are some general tips. Since everybody's aim is so good at this point, you should always pre-fire. You can do this by playing for information, either by jiggle-peeking or from your teammates. Age enemy dekhla kothay ache, or from your radar. Tarpor pick korar sathe sathe shoot. The goal is you can't give your enemy time to react. Dhuke dham kore headshot, trusting your guts. There are a few maps on workshop you can practice. A ranking information is very important, so the more you play with your opponent's information, the more you confuse them, the higher the chances of you winning around. So, ধরে নাও cash B তে you're watching from heaven.
as a CT.
অপোনেন্ট যদি তোমাকে বিমেন থেকে হেভেনে দেখে,
Try to go CT or try to switch to side just to confuse their information.
just think of it like this. যেটা করতেছো, in your opponent's point of view, ও কি মনে করবে, ও কি ইনফরমেশন দিচ্ছে ওর টিমে। একটা জিনিস হলো try to surprise your opponents by playing against the meta in a few rounds. আমি যেটা সাজেস্ট করবো অপোনেন্টদের ফুল বাই রাউন্ডগুলোতে try just rushing them and just surprise them. They'll expect a setup from you. Don't just hold the same angles every round. তাহলে অপোনেন্টরা এক্সপেক্ট করবে what you're doing.
Save your utilities. Mid একটা fake flash বা main একটা fake flash. These things don't actually work much. Old flash gula is more important at the end of the round.
So try to have at least one smoke and one flash at the end of the round. Don't just waste them. And finally, the most important tip for this rank is please just jiggle peek. Do not just white peek. A skill group almost every player is super talented. Sharp angle nicely করতে পারবে, and a slight mistake can cost you a lot. So peek Narsham, if you're a bit more careful, then you have a higher chance of winning the round.
And if you don't know what Jiggle-Peeking is, a video te arka timestamp pe I'll be talking more about that in details, so please be sure to check that out. So now we are going to move on with the demo.
So first আমরা দেখব কিভাবে angles clear করে, and to be honest আমি এক্সপেক্ট করছিলাম একটা ডেমো দেখে ডেমোতে যে প্লেয়ারটা দেখতেছি তার ফ্লস বের করে তারপর নিজে দেখাবো কেমনে পিক করে, বাট টার্নস আউট এখানে যার ডেমো দেখতেছি his angle picking is almost flawless. So we'll just watch him clear the angles.
I'm throwing a grenade.
আমি একটা জিনিস নোট করব, I don't think you guys have noticed, but যখন একটা অ্যাঙ্গেল ক্লিয়ার করতেছে this player is actually watching two angles at once. So একটা enemy যদি বের হয়ে যায় he is always prepared to take the fight. সাদা ক্রসটা মানে যে অ্যাঙ্গেলগুলো ইগনোর করা হচ্ছে, and লাল সার্কেলগুলো মানে যেগুলো অ্যাঙ্গেল হচ্ছে চেক করতেছে। ইউজুয়ালি লো র্যাঙ্কের প্লেয়ার্সরা একটা অ্যাঙ্গেল ভালো করে ক্লিয়ার আউট করলেও আর অনেকগুলো অ্যাঙ্গেলস থেকে এক্সপোজ থাকে। So this player is actually doing a pretty good job at clearing out the angles. এখন দেখাবো হচ্ছে এই র্যাঙ্কের সবচেয়ে প্রবাবলি বড় ফ্ল, সেটা হচ্ছে জিগল পিকিং। সো জিগল পিক করার সময় you should first take information by exposing as less of your body as you can to your enemy. So fast একটা পিক নিয়ে get information and then wide peek, then shoot. এখানে এই ক্লিপটায় দেখতে পারবেন যে this player হাতে গান নিয়ে he's wide peeking for information, which makes you really exposed to many angles. It gives your enemies a lot of time to shoot you. এখানে একটা অফার থাকলে it would have been a free kill.
I'm throwing a flashbang. I'm throwing smoke. Flashbang. Deploying flashbang.
So here is another example of improper jiggle peeking.
I'm throwing a grenade. Grenade out.
এখন আমাদের প্লেয়ার টিমমেটের থেকে ইনফরমেশন পাইছে যে এ মেইনে প্লেয়ার ঢুকতেছে। So now you can wide peek and pre-fire. But তাছাড়া jiggle peeking should be done by very small peaks, not too wide peaks. This is good pre-firing from information. Okay, now একটা last জিনিস দেখাবো, which is opponentরা আমাদের প্লেয়ারকে দেখার পর how he changes his position and keeps playing his angle effectively. A mainly দেখতেছে, but he's being versatile, he's changing his positions, making it hard for the enemies to predict কোথা থেকে pick নিবে next, which is good.
Grenade out. Laying down smoke. Grenade out.
Okay, এরকম সিচুয়েশনসে একটা জিনিস I'd like to mention just from experience is যদি একজনের সাথে engagement হয় and if he hides or falls back to a safe position, don't go chasing after him because it usually means আরেকটা অ্যাঙ্গেল থেকে ওর টিমমেট তোমার দিকে এম করে আছে। So rather যে লুকায় থাকুক, you should aim somewhere else যেখান থেকে মনে হয় you're exposed. For example, এখানে orange train. যদিও এই জিনিসটা এই সিনারিওতে হয় নাই, it's just a side note. 90% of the time এটাই হয়. So finally we have reached the highest skill group in competitive matchmaking, which consists of Supreme and Global. One misconception is many people think যে এটাই হচ্ছে skill cap. There is no way to get better than this. You're almost among the best. But that isn't entirely true. Some globals are extremely better than others. এদের মাঝেও there are different tiers of players, and you can only get better from here. And I'm going to give you some advices on how to do that. First thing to keep in mind is যে everyone in the server has near perfection shooting. There are no major flaws in shooting, so you have to find different ways of killing your opponents. এখন অন্যান্য way দেখতে হবে, like pop flashes, one-way smokes, etc. And এসব নিয়ে একটু পরে কথা বলবো in details. Okay, so next we have information. This is very very important because teammate information উপর rely করে you have to pre-fire or you have to shoot through the smoke, অথবা you have to adjust your position accordingly. You can't rely that much on visual information. ডানে বামে উপর নিচে সব জায়গায় দেখতে গিয়ে দেখবা অফ গার্ডে অপোনেন্ট জাস্ট বের হয়ে মেরে দিচ্ছে ধাম করে, and he won't even give you any time to react. So you have to keep your ears open for as much information you can get from your teammates. ধরে নাও টিমমেট বললো টেট্রিসে একটা প্লেয়ার, then you have to rely on that information and go for the pre-fires. Tetris plus Tetris.
Counter-terrorists win.
Not pre-fire.
The info, man.
And mid-round, if it's a 3 versus 5 or a 3 versus 4, it's better to stack side and leave one side open so you can retake together. If you're the kind of player who was always on the grind and everything, then it's best to work on your movement now because you've practically mastered almost everything else. So এখন থেকে if you work on your movement, then it will help a lot in the long run. This consists of strafing, counter-strafing, or an average B-hopping. Workshop, if you type in KZ maps, that helps a lot in movement, trust me. I will of course include those in this tutorial somewhere along in the video. A lot of high-ranked players have pretty average movement, but I believe good movement is essential for your skill and confidence. Be nice to your teammates. I know এরকম skill cap এ আসার পর everyone's ego is going to be skyrocketing off the roof, but you have to learn that you cannot win the game by yourself. If you lose the game, it's your loss. You're going to lose ELO or D rank or whatever. So practically your game is also in the hands of your teammates. So even if they mess up, try to encourage them to do better instead of being toxic. Timing is super important. I remember অনেক আগে আমাদের টিমে একটা স্মার্ফ পড়ছিল and he had an insane number of kills, and I asked him how he played so well, and he told me that timing is everything. Shooting doesn't matter at the end of the day. Timing is the most important thing he knows. Imagine this, after round first 30 seconds what you do, and after round 1 minute 10 seconds for how you play. Are you off guard? Do you change your position frequently? তখন কিন্তু আমরা একটা অ্যাঙ্গেলে ফোকাস কম করি, আমরা 2-3 অ্যাঙ্গেল ধরা ট্রাই করি. We try to look for more information. একটা সাইটে ফেক দিলে কিন্তু লাস্ট 30 সেকেন্ডসের ফেকগুলো আরও অনেক বেশি কাজ করে, বিকজ তখন একটা সাইড থেকে রোটেশনটা আরও ফাস্টার আসে. সো এই টপিকটা নিয়ে I can't show you any kind of demonstration because এটা অনেক far-fetched, but একটা ভালো অ্যাডভাইস দিতে পারি. In general, একটা রাউন্ডে between 30 and 50 seconds তখন usually দেখা যায় opponentরা quite off guard. So try to keep that in mind, even though এটা সবসময় accurate না. এখন probably biggest pointer উপর emphasize করব, which is positioning. একটা প্লেয়ারের খেলা যে লেভেলে থাকুক না কেন, অপোনেন্টের পজিশনিংটা অনেক প্যারা দিবে. অপোনেন্টের এমন অ্যাঙ্গেল নিয়ে খেলবে, ন্যাচারালি ক্রসারটা এখানে থাকে না. We call these off angles. আমি এক্সাম্পল হিসেবে কিছু অফ অ্যাঙ্গেল এখন ডেমনস্ট্রেট করব, and I'll also play as the opponent just to show you যে off angles কতটা পরিমাণ স্ট্রং হতে পারে.
So I'm pretty sure you get the point by now. And আমি একটার পর একটা off angle পুরা দিন দেখাইতে পারবো, but it's never going to end. You can make off angles by your own, but off angles have a general meaning. এটার মানে হলো যেখানে your opponent does not naturally place his crosshair. So যে অ্যাঙ্গেলটা usually ignore করে opponentরা, you can set your off angles there.
So as usual, we're going to watch a demo from this skill group. And I've collected a demo from a high tier global, of course.
And the demo চাওয়ার সময় I asked him for a demo on which he performed really well.
Keeping that in mind, let's move on. Notice that he's focusing on just one angle and mouse-টা চারদিকে ঘুরাইতেছে না, trying to watch everything by himself, because এরকম সিচুয়েশনে it's best to just hold the angle যেখানে অপোনেন্টদের আসার বেশি চান্স, and যেটা দেখবো এটা ভালো করে দেখা ভালো. So over here, headshot positionটা পুরোপুরি ইগনোর করতেছে and just ডান দিকে pit and B main area hold করতেছে. Now we are going to watch a 1 versus 2 clutch by him,
And একটা অনেক ইম্পর্টেন্ট অ্যাডভাইস দেবো যেটা খেলতে খেলতে শিখতে পারছি.
obviously general cases সবসময় কাজ করে না, but in most cases এরকম high level গেমগুলোতে it works like a charm, and একটু পরে you'll understand why. মেরে instantly পিছে তাকানো, and in a lot of the cases in clutch scenarios opponent যদি দুইজন বা তিনজন থাকে, usually if you kill one person they are going to try to play with you, they are going to try to toy with you and পিছন দিয়ে আসা ট্রাই করবে so that you don't check your back, because usually কি হয়, when we come to retake from somewhere we don't look back and check that angle again, because আমরা ওইখান থেকে আসছি, so why do we need to check it again? So opponentরা ঘুরে ফিরে ওই পজিশনটাই লুকায় থাকে. So my advice to you is clutch scenarios এ আগামী 2-3টা mm যেটাই খেলো retake এ, if you kill one guy instantly look back and just see how it works. এই ক্লিপটা আমাদের প্লেয়ার সাইটের বক্সের থেকে আসছে, এর জন্য এনিমি ভাবছে যে সাইড বক্স থেকে যেহেতু আসছে ওই জায়গায় তো আর চেক দিবে না, কোয়াড চেক দিবে বা ব্লু ডোর চেক দিবে, সো ঘুরে ফিরে ওই বক্সে লুকাই ছিল. So this is going to be a quick segment on instant headshots, and প্রথমে আমি যেটা পয়েন্ট আউট করব হচ্ছে most people have this weird conception যে reaching a high rank means screamer মতো aim, ধামধুম instant headshots, দৌড়ায় দৌড়ায় headshot, no recoil applies to him, whereas it doesn't work like that. কারো muscle memory এত হাই না যে মাউস readjust করে প্রত্যেকটা headshot পারবে, unless you're absolutely insane. However, what you can do is pre-aim. You can place your crosshair at head level and এমন ভাবে crosshair place করতে হবে so that when you peek out, the first thing your crosshair is on your enemy's head. Sadly, ওয়ালের ভিতর দিয়ে enemies দেখা হচ্ছে not part of CS rules, so the most you can do is guess your enemy's position and place your crosshair accordingly before you peek. Next thing to know, And this is the most important part. Complete stop এ আসার আগে don't start shooting. নাহলে no matter how much you spray, if you don't land the first bullet, then it's going to be really tough to readjust and kill your opponent before he kills you. The whole point of pre-aiming is so that you don't give your enemies any time to react and your first bullet lands the headshot. So if you don't come to a complete stop before shooting, then this whole thing is pointless. Here's an example when it looks like a running headshot. Notice that I only shot after I came to a complete stop. কিন্তু অপোনেন্টের পয়েন্ট অফ ভিউ থেকে দেখে মনে হবে যে দৌড়ের মাঝখানে হেডশট মারতেছে। This is probably the most important skill for CSGO. Jiggle-Peeking. Now for me, I generally like to divide this into 3 parts: sidestepping, side peeking, and wide peeking. So first up, sidestep. আমরা sidestep কখন করি? This is when we feel like একটা অ্যাঙ্গেল দিয়ে আমরা যখন বের হবো, ওই অ্যাঙ্গেলটা অপোনেন্টের একটা অফার ধরে আছে, বা একটা রাইফেলম্যান একটা অফ অ্যাঙ্গেলে ধরে আছে, অথবা ওভারঅল you feel like you're going to get picked off. So you sidestep so that opponent fire করে and they miss their shot, and then you can kill them easily. You want to show as less of your body as you can while you sidestep. This is what it should look like when you sidestep. Next up, we have side peeking. We side peek when we generally have an idea of where our enemies are, but we want to have a quick look and place our crosshair so that when we peek, it's aimed on their head. এটা করে, unlike sidestepping, যেখানে আমরা shot bait out করে ওই সাউন্ডে একটা assumption নেই of where our enemies could be, side peek করার সময় we actually see our enemy and be sure of our information. We're making sure that আমাদের enemy এখানেই দাঁড়ায় আছে, so that we're fully prepared to peek when we do so. One more thing to note is that আমরা যেখান থেকে side peek করি, we actually want our enemies to aim there. We want them to be fully prepared যে আমরা ওই angle থেকে peek নিতেছি, whereas we're actually body faking. We are trying to make it look like আমরা এখান থেকে peek নিব, whereas আমরা একটা wide peek নিয়ে মেরে দেব, which I'll show you when I explain wide peeking. So as you can see, our enemies were focused on the angle towards the right, যেখানে আমরা side peek করতেছিলাম, but যখন actually বের হইছি to shoot, we took a wide peek. This is just for distracting our opponents and making it hard for them to shoot us. Our wide peek নিলে they have to flick. They have to readjust their crosshair and then shoot, which makes it inconsistent for them to kill us. What you would want to do is generally take 2 or 3 steps away from the angle you were side peeking and then shoot. Now, if you have a rifle in your hand when you side peek, তাহলে side peek গুলো আরো slower হয়, making it more vulnerable to your opponent picking you off. So knife দিয়ে side peek, side step করা is fine, but when you wide peek, make sure your gun is out before you wide peek. One last advice would be to, before you shoot, make sure you come to a complete stop. দৌড়ের মাঝখানে if you shoot, your first shot is not going to land according to your crosshair, and তখন opponent can just readjust their aim and kill you.
Terrorists win.
So obviously demonstration it was quite slow, but I'll give you an example of how it should be done in an actual game.
Terrorists win.
So this was a highly requested segment, which is B-hopping. So B-hopper মানে হইলো if you strafe and counter strafe and একটা perfect specific time slot if you can land your jump তাহলে you gain velocity. Now this used to work a lot better in older CS games, but CS:GO তেও আছে, but it's quite difficult. It's basically a bug in the game's engine যেটাকে player exploit করে to gain speed and do better movement. So it was basically popularized by a lot of videos, especially the one by Foon. And of course CS:GO though it's possible if you're really good at it. I'm going to try and give you some advices on B-hopping, but since it's a gamer bug, there's no definitive tutorial on it. It's just a matter of experience and feeling. But to my knowledge, I'm just advice to go. Maybe you guys can work on it on your own and get good at B-hopping. So my first advice would be to quick switch between the heaviest item you have and the lightest item you have. So for example, if you bought an AWP, tahole your heaviest item is the AWP and your lightest item is your knife. So while hopping, if you switch between your knife and AWP, tahole it's more likely that you land a proper B-hop. On the contrary, if you switch between your pistol and your knife, then B-hopping would be more harder, more difficult. If you switch between your AWP and pistol while hopping, there's a lower chance of you landing that B-hop. And this is all from personal experience. So my next advice to you guys would be to learn strafing and counter strafing. What this generally means is, while you're in the air, smoothly turn left and right so that you gain more speed than normal if you jump. While strafing, be sure to not do it too fast or too slow. Move your mouse as smoothly as possible. The best way to do this is practicing surf maps. Manush jotoi bole surfing is useless and a waste of time. It's actually the quickest way to have control over your mouse and smooth out your movements. At least for smoothing out your strafes. The next thing to point is start developing a habit of crowd jumping. Crowd jumping is basically when you jump, তখনই control press করা so that you have more time in the air. Your feet are off the ground and you land later. What this does is it gives you more air time, so when you strafe, you have a little more time to smooth out your movement, and this overall gives a higher chance of hitting a high velocity. Try crowd jumping on everything. It gives you control of your environment. So when you're moving in high speeds and your opponent sees you, most of the time they're gonna have a hard time killing you. Okay, now for the final tip. This might sound a little weird to you, but কয়েকটা surface is more suitable for B-hopping than others. Like, there are some places যেখানে your B-hop is more likely to land, and there are some places যেখানে your B-hop is less likely to land. So with that being said, let's go to our first place. I'm going to show you a few places যেখানে B-hop করা is easy actually. First of all is Mirage's Nest. So if you're a CT and you want to pick mid, instead of peeking like this, your standard angle, you can peek from here so that when they cross, তখন ওরা একটু পর্যন্ত চেক করে, they won't check this side. Usually they don't check this side, they just run over and they cross, so it's easier for you to kill. So এখানে আসার জন্য you have to avoid getting hit. You can't just walk like this. What you have to do is B-hop, and this is one of the few surfaces যেখানে B-hop is actually quite easy. As you can see, I've already landed there, and most of the time এখানে land করবে if you just try. You just have to have the confidence. Palace. Highway from this side. Not from this side. As you can see, the surface is sloped, so ever B-hop korte gele it's going to be really hard. Even if you land a B-hop, it's going to be pretty hard. Mid garage, B main. A main on top of this box. Inferno mid, both as a T and a CT. Banana is slightly sloped, as you can see, so as a T it's going to be a little hard, but as a CT it is quite favorable. Arch. Nuke garage. Outside. B ramp. B secret. On top of T oil tank. Train T mid. Connector. But be smart, ekhane B-hop korata isn't quite ideal because the slope is quite uneven. IV. This is an example of a place where you shouldn't B-hop because onek kichute thekte pare matha, like, so it's quite not ideal. Overpass mid, but a concrete pojonto. Like after this surface here, the sand or whatever, this isn't quite good for B-hopping, but a concrete is pretty good. Same thing, a long concrete, not the grass. A long. Park is pretty bad for B-hopping. A short is also not good for hopping. In B, the hole of water and B side for the cardboards, it's not that good for hopping, but the concrete floors are pretty good. Toilet is also pretty good. A long on dust too. On this crate on A short. A long if you're going down the slope. And not this way. So pretty much to summarize, look for concrete floors, just avoid grass and sand. Look for heights so that your strafes are more smooth, gives you more speed. And avoid going up slopes. If you want to hop, go down the slopes. So to summarize, crouch jump as much as you can, develop a habit. Try to smooth your strafes as much as you can, even by subtle hops. Don't just keep crouch jumping, try to randomize your movement. If you crouch jump once, you can crouch jump once, then normal jump twice. Or normal jump, then crouch jump. Just randomize. Look for down slopes, as V-hops are much easier there. Avoid anything but concrete floors. Look for slightly higher heights. Switch from your lightest item to your heaviest item when you make the initial jump. And overall, if you ask me what is the main benefit of B-hopping, it is the speed. The insane amount of speed you gain if you can land a proper B-hop. Because normally apnea, if you move, everyone knows how slow you are. But through B-hopping, your speed is insanely fast. Makes you a really deadly hopper. Even with a rifle. If you can B-hop with a rifle, you're still a lot faster than normal. I hope these tips come in handy and you can land insane shots like this.
I won't stop, now that I'm ahead of you. I won't stop like I didn't see your red and blues. Yeah, I did everything they never said to do. And Mr. I don't give a fuck is who you sing your letters to. Yeah, cause that's me, that's me.
Let's talk about AWP-ing. The AWP is the sniper rifle for Counter-Strike, and it's the most expensive mainstream weapon that we all buy during our games. For almost all the teams I've played in, I've mostly played as the AWPer, and I'm happy to share some of my advice with you. So, আমার জন্য first advice হবে যে if you're an AWPer, you have to discover your style. If you're an AWPer like JW, who likes to push and always get the first frag of the round, একটা rounds শুরুতে 45 করে দেওয়া, then you're an aggressive AWPer. But if you AWP like Device, who always holds back and একটা angle ধরে থাকে for a long time, very patiently, and never missing his shots, then you're a passive AWPer. So first thing to do would be to discover yourself, and then play accordingly. Now I'm about to contradict my first advice a little by saying that you have to play unpredictable. You can have a general style for AWPing, passive, aggressive, whatever, but you cannot do the same thing every round. Proti round push dile, your opponents would be ready for you and you'll get punished for it. So it's fine to have a general style for AWPing, but the main criteria for AWPing should be to play unpredictable. একটা 5 জনের টিমের মধ্যে usually একজনই AWPer থাকে, and he has a lot of responsibility in his hands. So if you're not bringing results to the team in a round, then it's a lot of money and economy wasted on the AWP for your team, and also a very important rifle wasted. To make it more simpler, the best thing to do is opponentদের buy round-এ AWP দিয়ে push করে একটা pick পেয়ে back করা. These type of plays really make a statement and opponentদের mindset অনেক demotivate করে ফেলে, which will help you throughout the rest of the game. And opponentদের eco round-গুলোতে you should always obviously fall back and hold a safe angle so that push করে না মারতে. Okay, my third advice would be যে don't hold a tight angle if you're exposed to another angle. It's best to hold an open angle যদি দুইটা angle থেকে exposed থাকো. To put things into perspective, আমি একটা example দিই, না হলে it sounds really confusing. For example, Inferno A side balcony. If you're holding as a CT, if you hold a tight angle, তাহলে ডানে দিয়ে ঢুকে মেরে দিতে পারে easily, because তোমার gun barrel exposed. So it's not wise to hold a tight angle in this area. However, if you look at banana, enemies-রা খালি একটা সাইড দিয়ে আসতে পারবে, like literally আর কোনো way নাই আসার. So এরকম angle যেখানে you're only exposed to one angle because enemy একটা angle দিয়ে আসবে, it's best to hold a tight angle so that your body is very little exposed to them. And now for my biggest advice, if you're AWPing, don't ever re-peek. You only have one shot. If you missed a shot, you can readjust. Fall back, peek from a different angle. If you miss again, fall back, peek from another different angle, and so on. Eta korle, it's actually acting like a retry button instead of dying, because it's better to miss a shot and stay alive and delay your enemies than just to die. because more you're giving your enemies map control of that area. So it's best to give up a little portion of the map to them, fall back, instead of giving up the entire map control of that part. So now I'm going to show you a cool trick. এটা করলে এটা হচ্ছে basically how to jump shot with an AWP, but you're not actually shooting them mid-air, but opponent's point of view থেকে দেখে মনে হবে যে mid-air shoot করতেছো, and it will look pretty scary to them, but it also feels weird when you land shots like these. It also gives your enemies very little reaction time, so it's pretty hard for them to kill you, but if you can master this technique, you can easily kill your enemies. So the first thing to do is scope immediately after you jump. Next thing to know is land korar immediately, don't shoot. There is a specific interval of time you have to wait, and only after that you can shoot. So I'm going to show you a few demonstrations, and I hope you understand the timing. Pause, shoot. Pause, shoot. Do you get the timing now? Hopefully in your enemy's point of view, it might look something like this. This type of stuff is required in special cases, of course, like jumping down CT on dust to cat. And finally, my last advice to you would be, don't flick faster than you think. আমরা যেসব অপারেটর আইডলাইজ করি, yes, they're pretty quick, they have insane flicks, consistently এসব shoot করে, but there's no point in doing it if you miss your easy shots. My favorite CSGO quote is, the best opper is not he who lands nutty shots sometimes, but he who lands easy shots all the time. Does this mean flick kora kharap? Not at all, but let flick be a second option. Make sure you're able to land all the easy shots, because usually the easy shots are harder to land. নিজের reaction time এর চেয়ে বেশি জোরে মারতে যেও না, at least not in competitive games. In death matches, sure, you can get a hang of it, but in a competitive game, it's best if you limit to your own reaction time. Usually the pro players that we idolize, যারা অপ করে, আমাদের কাছে যেসব শট ফাস্ট মনে হয়, ওদের কাছে এসবই সিম্পল শটস, খেলতে খেলতে অভ্যাস হয়ে গেছে. No matter how good you perform individually, CS is a team-based game, and you can only contribute 20% to the chances of winning the game. This is for people who already have a team and usually play 5-man stacks, and you want to improve, not individually but as a team. Make sure all 5 players attend practice each day. Now this doesn't have to necessarily be every day, but week e je dingulo practice date set kora, all 5 players should come. এরকম কয়বার হয়েছে যে একটা ভালো টিম is performing good, but there's always that one person যে practice attend করে না and has no clue about the strats. The best way to do this is to track each player's attendance, preferably through Microsoft Excel or something, so that মাসের শেষে if there is an argument, then you always have proof to deny any of their allegations. A huge tip is to set a goal. একটা goal set করে 5 জনের এটার উপর focus থাকা একদম necessary, because if you don't have a goal, you're not aiming for anything, and at the end of the day you won't see any results. এখন a goal could be anything. It could be matchmaking, 5 জন মিলে 1 week এর মধ্যে একটা rank up, or 1 month এর মধ্যে আমরা সবাই LEM rank reach করব, অথবা আমরা faceit level 8 যাব together, অথবা সামনে LAN আসতেছে. Obviously I'm not going to expect us to win the LAN, but we can expect to be the 5th place or the 4th place. So you have to set a goal first. Trust your teammates during clutch scenarios. If you die, that's the end of the round for you. Opponent position জানলে অটুক বলাটা is necessary, but এরপর you should let your teammate clutch. And moreover, if you're stuck in a 2 versus 5 or 2 versus 4 and you have a teammate with you, if they say they're watching an angle, you should ignore it and trust them. This brings me to my next point. যখন একটা সাইট হিট হচ্ছে, it's best if each player is watching one specific area of the map. For example, আমরা যখন খেলতাম, the first player should always watch the left side and the next player should watch the right side. আর পিছের প্লেয়ারগুলো ওগুলো ট্রেড করবে, knowing the enemy's positions. তো ধরে নাও in cash, when we are hitting A, তখন the first player should watch forklift side and the next player should watch NBK quad and side. So এখন একটা clip দেখাবো যেটার মধ্যে we do exactly this. Notice যে আমি ঢোকার সময় I don't even look on my left side even though আমি জানি enemy থাকতে পারে. I'm completely depending on my teammate and আমি নিজে just আমার যে এরিয়া ধরার কথা right side এ ওগুলো আমি ধরতেছি. And even if I die, I have my teammates behind me to trade the kill. তবে এটা অবশ্যই রাউন্ডের শুরুতে বলে দেওয়া লাগবে যে I'm watching left, you watch my right side, player X or whatever. And finally, coming to my last advice, copy strats from professional teams. And by this, বেশিরভাগ টিমরা মনে করবে যে pro teamদের smokeগুলো কপি করলে strat হয়ে যায়, but that's not even half of what the strat means. একটা stratের মধ্যে the most important part is the timing and the flashes. এরকম high level CS এ everybody's aim is near perfect, so the only thing that can blind an enemy is a flash, and flash খাওয়ার পর timing বুঝে if you can hit a site, only then the strat will work. So now I'm going to show you my favorite strat for the map D Mirage, and this was made by the player called Nothing, and it's a basic A hit যেখানে timing is extremely important, and after seeing it for yourself you'll understand why. আমাদের first playerটা stairs smoke করে and তার 1 second আগে jungle smoke করে আমাদের player 2, so that দুইটা smoke একসাথে pop করে। এই দুইটা smoke মারার পর কিছুক্ষণ wait করে আমাদের player 3 ramp থেকে ramp side smoke করে and he gets ready for a molly for CT box. এই মলিটা করার জন্য কোনো জাম্প থ্রো বাইন্ড লাগে না, জাস্ট রাফলি এখানে এম করে জাম্প থ্রো করলেই সিটি বক্সে পড়ে and it cuts off any players from the side from falling back to CT. Next up we have a flash from player 4 on Palace, and দুইজন প্লেয়ার প্যালেসে খেলবে, একজন ফ্ল্যাশ করবে একজন বের হবে। এই ওয়ালের মধ্যে দুইটা দাগ যেখানে মিট করে, just aim and throw your flash and it's a sick pop flash যেটা ডজ করা প্রায় impossible. এই ফ্ল্যাশটা মারতে হবে যখনই you hear your player 3 throwing his molly, তখনই ফ্ল্যাশটা ছাড়তে হবে, and player 5 must exit Palace and take the peek right after the flash pops. এই demonstrationটা isn't perfect because দুইজন মিলে দেখাইছি, but if you're doing it in an actual game you'll just see the results immediately. আরেকটা ছোট টিপ হচ্ছে যত পারো ask for flashes from your teammates because it's way more effective.
Flashback.
নিজে ফ্ল্যাশ করলে most of the time pop flash হয় না and your opponents can easily dodge the flash and kill you. Okay, so this is the weird part of the video. I'm going to give you a lot of weird advices, but you'd have to trust me on this. J Protecta is actually very effective. Use a bungee so that your aim is consistent throughout all 4 parts of your mousepad. Make sure you have correctly placed your wire so that your mouse can freely move throughout your mousepad and not get stuck. Lift your mouse as much as you can while you aim so that your aim is snappy and so that your hand is not bent in awkward positions, which makes your aim very inconsistent. Remove unnecessary things from your playing table so that you get less distracted while you play. Clean your monitor every month. এই জিনিসটা অনেকেই করে না and there's so much dust and debris on their monitors that অনেক কিছু দেখার মতো অন্যদের স্ক্রিনে আসে but you can't see it while you play. Fix your mouse clicks every 6 months so that in-game নষ্ট না হয় বা tournament মাঝখানে নষ্ট না হয়ে যায়. And try to keep a backup mouse just in case a tournament comes up and your mouse gets broken. Use push-to-talk for all of your communication softwares like Discord or TeamSpeak because LAN এ হচ্ছে push-to-talk ছাড়া আর কোনো উপায় নাই and you should develop a habit online. অনেকে মাউসের সাইড বাটন যেটা বাইন্ড করে রাখে but I like my one binded to my keyboard at the alphabet Z. রাতের বেলা খেলা is more preferable because তখন social interruptions কম plus load shedding এর ব্যাপারটাও কমে আসে. Play with players from an immediate higher tier and perform well to get their recognition. Or if they ever need a fifth player for their team, you might get lucky and pop up in their heads. Attend as many LANs as you can. Team na thakleও just mix করে যাও and don't expect to win, but expect to make a statement. LAN এর একটা ভালো জিনিস হচ্ছে there's always someone standing behind you to watch you play. So if you make a really nutty play, then people will talk about it. And ওইখান থেকে আস্তে আস্তে you'll get more recognized in the community. Make clips and frag movies for the same reason as well. If you're toxic, then no matter how good you play, people are always going to talk shit behind your back. This could ruin your chances of getting into a good team as well. Let's be real. কারো তো টাইম নেই যে দিনের আলাদা একটা টাইম allocate করে warm up করবে বা death match খেলবে. So the best way to do this is while you're searching for a game, যেমন face it ঢোকার আগে 5 minute warm up. তখন just 1 minute বা 2 minute play a deathmatch or play aimbots. Avoid dragging your mouse, but instead, snap your mouse. Have nutty aim. একটা জিনিস খেয়াল করে দেখো যেগুলো দিনগুলো ভালো স্কোর থাকে পুরো দিন, if you're performing well, you have snappy aim. But the days you aim very slowly are the days where you score the lowest. And most importantly, clean your gears, like washing your mousepad or blow drying your PC. For spraying, it's almost impossible to remember all the recoil patterns for every single gun. So it's best to have a general pattern memorized so that you feel confident while spraying. Personally, I'd like to drag down my crosshair a little to the right and then towards the left. নিচে টানে নেই অল্প, then বামে নিতে থাকি. If you think an enemy is in the smoke, don't shoot through it. Shoot the edges of the smoke. Thank you all very much for watching. This video took quite a while to make. I hope you guys liked it. Please do like and share the video if this video helped you in any way. I love the Bangladesh CSGO community a lot and it has given me a lot of good memories. So this is my way of repaying you back. I hope a lot of players get help from this video and can improve themselves. And until next time, goodbye.